Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita mulakan kelas kita pada petang ini dengan membaca ummul kitab Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, ampunkanlah dosa-dosa kami, ampunkanlah dosa kedua ibu bapa kami dan kasihilah mereka sebagaimana mereka mengasihi kami di masa kecil. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu yang bermanfaat untuk diri kami, keluarga kami, agama kami, bangsa kami dan negara kami. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, berilah kepada kami kejayaan di dunia dan di akhirat. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, jadikanlah kami orang-orang yang bersyukur. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Okey, alhamdulillah kita bersyukur pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Kita dapat bertemu lagi pada petang ini untuk kelas yang pertama minggu yang ke-6 ya. Jadi saya dah lama juga masuk dalam tu tadi, tapi tengok kenapa tak ada student. Rupanya awak tak nampak saya. Jadi memanglah agaknya saya masuk lain kot. Okay, BTJ, KZPN, GMW. Itu yang saya masuk tadi. Tapi pelik saya tak ada dalam tu Okay. Okay. So, insyaAllah today we are going to learn a new subtopic new subtopic that is mixed group. Mixed group. Last week we have learned about vertical group, and this week we are going to learn about mixed group. Okay, so what is actually mixed group? So without further delay, I would like to present to you what is mixed group. Okay, can you see the picture?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, this is the explanation about mixed group. So mixed group is also known as D-shaped groups. D-shaped group. Group yang berbentuk D. Okay. In terms of definition, in a mixed group situation, the parent entity has a direct controlling interest in at least one subsidiary. Ini menjadi syarat. The parent entity has a direct interest in at least one subsidiary. In addition, the parent entity and the subsidiary together hold a controlling interest in a further entity. So we can see from this diagram. Okay, you can see from here. Here is H, and this one is S. So between H and S, H is the parent, S is the subsidiary. H is the parent, S is the subsidiary. So according to the definition just now, at least one subsidiary. H at least must have one subsidiary. Okay, so dia fulfill lah syarat tu. In addition, sebagai tambahan, the parent entity and the subsidiary together hold a controlling interest in a further entity. So from here we can see that, okay, H has an interest in T. H has an interest in T. How much? 30%. And S also has an interest in T, 30%. So when we add the two together, it is 60%. This one here is 60%. This one is 60% by two parties. Okay. H itself cannot control T. S itself cannot control T. But together, H and S can control T. So can you see the D shape? Tapi D tu tajam sikit lah, D shape. Ni kita panggil D shape. D shape. Okay. So itu syarat dia. Maknanya at least there must be one subsidiary, and then in addition to that, the parent together with the subsidiary control another company. Okay. Next. In this case, H controls 60% of S, and S therefore is a subsidiary of H. This is very clear. Secondly, H controls 30% of T directly, and another 30% indirectly via its interest in S. So, T is therefore a sub-subsidiary of H group. Yeah, T is therefore a sub-subsidiary of H group. So we cannot say that T is directly a subsidiary of H. Okay, it is indirectly. Yeah, because of the collaboration between H and S. So H group control T also. Next, in terms of date of acquisition, suppose H acquired a 60% interest in S on 1st January 2012 and acquired 30% interest in T on the same date. S subsequently acquired its 30% interest in T on 1st July 2012. Different date. Initially, from 1st January 2012, H exercises significant influence over T. H exercises significant influence over T as an associate entity. So it is not a subsidiary. It has a significant influence only. It is only from 1st July 2012 that H has access to more than 50% of the voting power in T. T is therefore consolidated into H group accounts as a subsidiary from 1st July 2012. Alternatively, suppose H acquired 60% interest in S on 1st January 2012 and acquired 30% interest in T on the same date. S acquired its 30% interest in T on 1st July 2012. Jadi maknanya cerita dia samalah. Alternatively, suppose H acquired interest on 1st January 2012 and acquired 30% interest on T on the same date, and S acquired in 30% interest in T on 1st July 2012. Ini ayat alternatif lah. Jadi kalau kita nak padam kat sini pun tak apa. Takut mengelirukan. Okay. Next. Note that the definition of a mixed group does not include the situation where the parent and associate together hold a controlling interest in a further entity. For example, H owns 30% of S. S owns 40% of W and H owns 40% of W. Jadi definition of mixed group, cannot be accepted here in this situation. Sebab syaratnya mesti ada satu subsidiary. Jadi kalau tak ada subsidiary, dia tak dikira sebagai mixed group. Jadi nak jadi mixed group tadi mesti at least ada satu subsidiary. Kalau tak ada subsidiary langsung macam ni, H owns 35%, it is not a subsidiary. S owns 40%, it is not a subsidiary. W and H owns 40% of W, not a subsidiary. Semuanya bukan subsidiary. Jadi kat sini, ini bukan mixed group. Walaupun bila kita campur-campur nanti dia akan dapat more than 50%, it is not a mixed group. Syarat, kena ingat balik syarat yang pertama tadi, there must be at least one subsidiary controlled by H. Lepas tu cerita lain baru menyusul tentang mixed group ni. Next. Ini situation. Situation yang kita cerita sebentar tadi lah, H acquire 35% interest in S, therefore S is not a subsidiary. H acquired 40% interest in W, W is not a subsidiary. Even though S acquire 40%, bila kita campur 40 dengan 40, 80% kan? H 40%, S 40% in W, it is not a subsidiary. So S is not a subsidiary, W also is not a subsidiary of H. Jadi dia ada relationship lah kat sini. Relationship dia kita akan belajar nanti dalam tajuk yang akan datang, iaitu sebagai associate. 35% is an associate, 40% is also an associate. Here 40% is also an associate. So there is no subsidiary parent relationship. Tetapi relationship dia hanyalah relationship between investor and the associate companies. So kalau ikutkan dekat sini, H ni dia ada dua associate company lah. The first one is S and second one is W. Okay. So this is not a mixed group situation. Neither S nor W is a member of H group, although S and W may both be associate of H. Walaupun kedua-duanya adalah associate of H, tetapi mereka tak boleh mengatakan bahawa we are H group. Tak boleh. Okay. H interest in W might be calculated as before, that is 30%, 35%, times 40%, plus 40%. So when we add together, it is 54%. Although H has an arithmetic interest in W that is more than 50%, it does not have parent entity control over W, as it does not control S 40% stake in W. Jadi syaratnya, kalau nak juga dia jadi subsidiary, dekat sini kena H kena ada at least 50% dalam S. If H has 50% in S, then everything goes okay. Tapi disebabkan there is no subsidiary here, this is only an associate, this is only an associate, this is only an associate. So the mixed group does not exist. Okay, next. In terms of consolidation, how are we going to consolidate this mixed group? That consists of the parent, the subsidiary, and sub-subsidiary. Okay, the approach is similar to deal with sub-subsidiaries in that is, an effective interest is computed and used to allocate share capital and retain earning. Secondly, all consolidation workings are the same as those used in vertical group situation, with the exception of goodwill. And lastly, the goodwill calculation for the sub-subsidiary differs in that two elements to cost must be considered, namely the cost of the parent direct holding and the parent percentage of the cost of the subsidiary's holding, that is indirect holding. Okay, jadi kat sini perbezaan dia yang ketiga ni lah 2.3.3, okay, in term of calculation of goodwill. Okay, so in a few minutes time we are going to learn about this. So this is the theory part that we need to know, we need to understand before we can go to calculation part. Okay, so I think this is all, okay, about the theory on mixed group. So now we can go to the example. Okay, so for those who have the book, you can refer to your book. And turn to example 3 in page 561. Okay, example 3 sebenarnya dalam example 3 muka surat 553. Muka surat 553. Jadi kat sini ni tak update ni. Page 553. Okay. So in page 553, okay, saya bacakan soalan dulu. Given below are the statements of financial position of H, S, and X. There are three companies. H, S, and X. As at 31st December X3. Okay. So, dia punya statement of financial position is the simple one. And the simple one ada how many items only? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items only. Okay. So, let's look at the investment part. Investment part. Investment in subsidiaries at cost. Investment in subsidiaries at cost. We can see investment in ordinary share in S. 80,000 shares. 80,000 shares out of 100,000. Itu in S lah. Okay, in S dia ada 100,000 shares. Sedangkan H acquire 80,000 of them. So it is 80%. Okay. Kemudian ordinary shares in X. Ordinary shares in X. H acquire 20,000 shares. 20,000 out of 100,000. So it is only 20%. Whereas S acquired 60% of shares in X. Okay, ordinary shares in X, 60,000 shares. Jadi 60,000 out of 100,000, it is 60%. Jadi together, H and S together control 80% interest in X. Dengan cara H acquire 20% and S acquire 60%. Jadi totalnya 80%. Okay, kita baca seterusnya lagi ceritanya. Okay. Additional information in page 554. H acquired the ordinary shares of S on 1st January X1 when the retained profit of S had a credit balance of 20,000. And B, H and S acquired the shares in X on 1st January X2 when the retained profit of X had a credit balance of 10,000. Required, prepare the consolidated statement of financial position as at 31st December X3. Okay, so itulah soalan dia. So, the question has been summarized here in this Excel file. Has been summarized. Okay, and we can see from here, okay, the summary. H has 80% direct interest in S. Yeah, okay. H has direct interest in S, 80%, and NCI for that company is 20%. When? On 1st January 20X1, and the cost is 110,000. Yeah, the cost is 110,000. At that time, the retained earning on the date of acquisition is 20,000. Next, we go to the second one. S direct interest in X. S direct interest in X is 60%. However, we cannot simply calculate the NCI because S is the subsidiary of H. When it happened on 1st January X2, and S pay 75,000. At that time, the retained profit of X is 10,000. Okay. On the same day, H has a direct investment of 20% in X on the same day, 1st January 20X2, and the cost incurred is 30,000. Okay, now, we are preparing the financial statement of H. We are not preparing the financial statement of S. So, we have to see the investment in X from the view of H. From view of H. So, from view of H, it has a direct interest of 20%. That 20% is a direct interest. However, another interest is indirect interest that has been invested by S in X, that is 60%. So we cannot simply take 60% because S is actually an 80% subsidiary, an 80% subsidiary of H. So we have to recalculate. The percentage of interest in X by multiplying 80% with 60%. So by doing that, okay, we know that the indirect interest of H in X is 48%. 80% times 60% is 48%. So the total interest of H in X is 68%. So if the total interest of H in X is 68%, the remaining balance 32% belong to NCI. Okay, belong to NCI. So NCI has 32% here in X. Okay, so we cannot simply add together, 20% and 60% become 80%. No, because 20% is direct, 60% is indirect. And when we recalculate the indirect interest, the interest is actually 48%. So 48 plus 20 equal to 68, and 68 compared to 100, there is a remaining balance of 32% that is belong to NCI. So NCI in S is 20% and NCI in X is 32%. Okay, class? Our next step is to calculate the goodwill or bargain purchase for the two companies. Okay, so kita tengok sekali lagi kita punya statement of financial position. Okay, ordinary share of each company, H 400,000, S 100,000, X 100,000. Retained earning brought down, H 80,000, S 60,000, and X is 60,000. And the profit after tax for the current year, 20,000 for H, 10,000 for S, and 20,000 for X. Total asset is 500, 170, and 180, which is equal to total equity. And then investment in S, 110, investment in X, 30, and then investment in X by S is 75. And lastly, sundry assets of the respective companies, 360, 95, and 180. Next. Okay. So the statement of profit or loss has been created, to show that the revenue, revenue of each company is 260, 150, and 200 respectively. Expenses 180, 110, and 140 respectively. And then we arrive at profit before tax 80, 40, and 60. Then taxation 60, 30, and 40. And lastly, profit after tax for the year is 20,000, 10,000, and 20,000. So this amount will be recorded again here in profit after tax for the year for the statement of financial position. Okay, so what is our next step? We know the question. Now we should know on how to calculate the goodwill. Okay, so this is the first time that we are calculating the goodwill for a mixed group company. So look at this calculation carefully. For S, we have no problem because it is a direct investment. Okay, untuk S, no problem. Okay, so from here, we calculate the goodwill of S. The consideration transferred is a direct investment of 80% just now, and the cost incurred is 110,000. Okay, next we list down the fair value of net asset on the date of acquisition, 1st January X1, share capital 100, and retained earning is 20. So by now, you must be able to identify in which place the retained earning and the share capital are situated. Yeah. Okay. So now we know that the fair value of net asset on the date of acquisition is 130,000. Okay. From there, we can calculate our NCI. That is 20% of 120,000. That is equal to 24,000. So as usual, the first step is to calculate the consideration transferred, step 1. And then step 2, we calculate the fair value of net asset. And then step 3, we calculate the non-controlling interest. Okay, so after we complete the calculation of non-controlling interest, okay, we add the non-controlling interest with the consideration transfer. Okay, consideration transfer. So 134,000 is basically the fair value of investment. Yeah, fair value of investment in S. And this one, 120,000 is fair value of net asset of S. So we compare the two together, fair value of investment and fair value of net asset, and the difference is 14,000. So 14,000 here is goodwill. I'm sure that everybody is okay with the calculation of goodwill for S, because S is a straight question, and S is a direct investment. Okay, now our concern now is how to calculate the goodwill for X. How to calculate the goodwill for X, because X is not a direct subsidiary. X is an indirect subsidiary of H. So how to calculate? Okay, we have two layer consideration transfer. Two layer consideration transfer. The first layer of consideration transfer is the direct investment made by H in X. Direct investment made by H in X. So the direct investment is 30,000. When H acquire the interest, 20% interest in X, it pay 30,000. That is number one. Number two is the payment made by S. The payment made by S has made a payment. S has made a payment of 75,000. 75,000. However, from the 75,000 investment made by S, 80% belong to the parent and 20% belong to NCI. This is what we have learned in vertical group last week. Jadi 75,000 betul kita letakkan sini, tetapi kat situ ada indirect NCI, indirect non-controlling interest, that is 20% kali dengan 75, which is equal to 15,000. And 15,000 need to be deducted from here. So 75 minus 15. Jadi actually investment yang dibuat oleh S di dalam X, from the viewpoint of H is only 60,000. Why 60,000? Because 80% kali dengan 75. So kalau kita nak letak kat sini, boleh juga kita letakkan kat situ 80% kali 75. Kita tak letaklah kat situ sebab kalau kita letak kat situ, nanti dia akan jadi 60. Sedangkan kita masih letakkan dia sebagai 100%. Jadi maknanya 80% tadi, after we minus 20%, jadi barulah dia menjadi 80%. Kemudian next one, we need to calculate the NCI. NCI for X is how much? NCI for X is, kita tengok dia punya fair value of net asset comprised of share capital 100,000 and retained earning 10,000. So 100,000 and 10,000 is equal to 110. Kemudian kita kali dengan 32%, kita dapat 35,200. 35,200. So now we total them. The consideration transferred by H, and then the consideration transferred by S, and then NCI. So here we get the 125,200. This is basically fair value of investment in X. The fair value of investment in X, we compare with fair value of net asset in X, 110. So there is a difference by 15,200, and this is also a goodwill. This is also a goodwill. Class, are you following? Especially the calculation of goodwill for the indirect interest in X. Are you following so far?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any doubt?
No, sir.
No. Okay, very good.
Faisha ada soalan.
Sekejap. Siapa? Okay, sila tanya.
Prof, nak tanya, dekat 75 tadi tu, stand for 80%. 80% tu H terhadap S ke?
Ya. H terhadap S kan 80% saja.
Kena tulis H terhadap S dululah, lepas tu baru sebab macam tak nampak kaitan dia.
Macam tak nampak kaitan dia. Dia macam ni lah, dia sama dengan tajuk minggu lepas juga. Cuma dia lebih advance lagi yang ni. Dia macam ni. Okay, between H and S is 80%. Do you agree?
Okay.
Okay, do you agree? So whatever done by S, H has 80% share. Maknanya dia ada share dalam apa saja tindakan yang dibuat oleh S. Kan? Jadi kalau S ada asset, dia ada share sebanyak 80%. Kalau S ni dia invest, maknanya dia pun ada share sebanyak 80%. So persoalannya 20% lagi siapa punya?
NCI.
20% lagi NCI punya. Jadi bila kita start kat situ, kita kena ingat balik what is the relationship between H and S. So kalau clear kat situ, whatever S do, H will has 80% share.
Kena include sekali.
Kena include sekali. Maknanya sebab kita bukan nak buat konsol untuk S, kan? Kita nak buat konsol untuk H. So kita kena, mata kita tu berada pada H saja. Jadi H yang melihat. H ni melihat kepada S dan juga kepada X. Jadi bukan daripada kacamata S. Kalau kata kacamata S, I have invested 60%. Kan? Tetapi bagi kacamata H, okay, sebenarnya dia hanyalah 48% saja.
Okay.
Faham ya? Okay, jadi saya nak betulkan sikit tadi tu, bila awak kata 75%, 75% tu adalah masih lagi 100%. Dia akan menjadi 80% tu selepas kita tolak 15. 75 minus 15 baru jadi 80%. Kalau 75 tu masih lagi 100% of total investment made by S. Yang 60% tu baru, yang 60,000 tu baru 60%. Jadi kita kena faham lah yang ni. Jadi kalau katakan awak nak suruh saya berhenti sekejap kat sini, nak pastikan awak faham pun tak apa, tak ada masalah, boleh. So understanding is very important. Okay, no point we learn a lot but we do not understand. We learn we learn some ataupun we learn little, but we can understand that is better. Ada lagi siapa nak tanya? Siapa yang tak clear tu terus tanya je. Sebab kita dah sampai kepada advanced level ni. Minggu yang ke-6 ni advanced.
Saya tak ada. Hello?
Ya.
Hello?
Ya, teruskan. Ya, terus.
Boleh dengar? Okay.
Boleh.
Saya tak ada buku teks, so saya berdasarkan apa yang saya dengar. So, H require S, lepas tu S require X. Dan pada masa yang sama, H juga require X.
Yes.
So
Yes, betul.
Dia share dia tak ada siapa own X ke macam mana? Dia tak ada parent untuk X kan?
Okay, parent dia adalah H lah sebab because of this collaboration between H and S. Jadi because of collaboration, tahu collaboration kan? Collaboration ni maknanya kerjasama. Kerjasama di antara H dan S menjadikan X ni sebagai subsidiary. Subsidiary kepada H lah, indirectly. Kalau kita tengok di antara S dengan X, di antara S dengan X, apa beza dia? Kalau vertical group tu daripada atas ke bawah, daripada atas H kepada S1 kepada S2. Tapi dalam mix ni, kita nampak dia bukan ke bawah. Dia bukan ke bawah, dia belok-belok. Nampak tak beza dia?
Dia berpusing. Dia bukan berpusing, dia macam tiga-tiga.
Dia macam ni lah, dia macam mana saya nak gunakan analogi yang lain, analogi yang lain. Macam ni. Tak boleh lah nak guna analogi, tapi saya cerita balik lah yang tentang company ni, tentang group ni. Okay. Yang kita kena faham ni, kita kalau tak nak nampak benda lain, kita kena pejam mata lah. Kita pejamkan mata kita, dengar betul-betul apa yang saya cakap. Kita ada 3 company kat sini. Ada H, ada S, ada X. Okay. Jadi apa yang telah berlaku adalah H is the parent of S. Yang itu clear. H is the parent of S, clear. Clear kat situ dia ada 80%
Clear,
interest.
clear.
Clear. Kemudian
Ada.
between H and X. Between H and X, it is only 20%.
H dengan
20%
H
saja.
dengan
Jadi
X
maknanya
ada 40%. Oh, okay.
H dengan X 20.
H 20 je. Okay.
20 saja, 20. Jadi dia ni tak ada apa-apa lah, 20% saja. Okay. Tak boleh lah nak mengaku subsidiary kan 20%. Okay. Kemudian at the same time S pula dia ada 60% di dalam X. So by right X ni adalah subsidiary kepada S lah. Dia subsidiary kepada S.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Dia akan jadi macam yang kita belajar minggu lepas. Kalau katakan H tu dia tak ada 20% interest. Kan, katakan dia punya tu straight macam ni, ya. H dengan S 80%, kemudian S dengan X 60%. Itu saja. Kalau itu saja, dia akan jadi macam minggu lepas punya yang kita belajar. Tapi sekarang ni dia ada satu lagi cabang iaitu between H and X, ya. Between H and X dia ada 20%. Itu yang jadi rumit sikit. Jadi rumit. Kalau tidak dia cuma between H and S 80%. Between S and between S and X 60%. So dia simple lah. Tetapi sekarang ni yang jadi dia agak complicated tu sebab H ada investment di dalam X sebanyak 20%. Jadi itu yang kita kena panggil dia sebagai mixed group. Mixed group. So diharap boleh fahamlah structure-nya tu. So because of that structure, when we calculate the goodwill, we need to show that structure in calculation of goodwill. Kita kena tunjukkan struktur tu di dalam calculation of goodwill. Jadi kita lihat semula bagaimana goodwill tadi kita calculate. Yang saya kata kita kena tunjukkan structure tu iaitu yang ni 30,000 ni adalah direct. Direct di antara H dengan X. Di antara H dengan X. Manakala yang 75% ni adalah between S and X. Tapi kita tak boleh ambil teruslah 75. Kita kena tolak dengan 15. Kena tolak dengan 15 sebab 15 tu bukan dimiliki oleh H tetapi dimiliki oleh NCI.
Ni vertical pun ada benda ni. Vertical ada.
Betul, vertical ada juga. Tapi yang atas ni tak ada dalam vertical.
Yang 75 dengan 30.
Yang 30 ni tak ada dalam vertical.
30 tu lah yang beza dia sebab dia ada direct. Relationship antara H dengan X.
Jadi kalau vertical hari tu kita cuma ada 75, 15, 35.2 habis. Tapi ni ada 30 juga. Itu beza dia dengan vertical. Vertical dengan mix ya. Okay, is that okay?
Okay.
Tadi yang tak faham lagi, saya boleh berhenti kat sini juga untuk kita teruskan soal jawab. Okay, terus seterusnya kita kena buatlah macam biasa kita ada analysis of financial statement, brought down dan carried down ya. Okay, so analysis of financial statement brought down ni macam biasa kita start dengan NCI ya. NCI on the date of acquisition of S and X. Jadi just now when we calculate the goodwill, we have also calculated the NCI for S as well as X ya. 24,000 and 35,200 respectively. At the same time, we have also calculated the indirect interest of NCI in investment made by S, that is 15,000. So itu NCI saja, 3 item. Okay, next is to look at the balance of retained profit of S, retained profit brought down. So retained profit brought down here is from the question 60,000. From the question 60,000. Ada question? 60,000 di sini. Okay, ada 60,000 di sini. Okay, dan nanti untuk X pun kita ada 60,000 juga. Okay, kita selesaikan benda ni. Okay, 60,000 and then retained earning on the date of acquisition is 20,000. Jadi 60 minus 20. So bakinya ada 40. Okay, 40 yang ada ni kita kena allocate kepada group dan juga kepada NCI according to the percentage. That is 80% and 30%. So 80% is 32, 20% is 8. Okay. Next. X, the retained profit brought down is also 60. And the retained profit on the date of acquisition is 10. So the balance is 50. Out of 50, okay, out of 50 just now, 68% will be allocated to group retained earning. That is equal to 34. And 32% will be allocated to NCI. That is equal to 16. Next, retained profit of H. Retained profit of H. From the question, retained profit brought down is 80. And this LT will be brought to group retained earning 80. So, kita bolehlah campurkan sekarang ni. Group retained earning 146 and NCI is 68.2 thousand ya. Okay, kat sini ada apa-apa soalan? Okay, jadi yang ni careful yang 68 ni kita kena betul lah. Kalau kita letakkan 80% dah salah lah. Ataupun kita letakkan 60 saja pun salah juga. Mesti 68. Okay, kemudian kita pergi kepada analysis of financial statement carried down. Okay, dan dia punya NCI tadi sama je lah yang 3 tu. On the date of acquisition, S is 24, X is 35.2 and indirect interest in S investment is 15 kat situ. Okay, kemudian retained earning carried down. Okay, from the question, retained earning carried down of S. Retained earning carried down of S from the question is the combination of 60 and 10 for S and 60 plus 20 for X. Jadi untuk S adalah 70, untuk X adalah 80. So kita bawa ke carried down analysis of financial statement carried down. Okay, 70 minus 20 equal to 50 times 80%. Okay, 40,000 goes to group retained earning and 10,000 goes to NCI. That's for X. Okay, retained earning carried down is 80 minus DOA 10 equal to 70. 68% goes to GRE equal to 47,600. 47,600 and NCI is 22,400. And lastly, retained earning brought down for H, brought down. Okay, hari tu ada soalan lah, kenapa kita letak brought down, boleh tak kita ambil terus carry down? Okay, tak ada masalah. Kita terus letak 100 pun tak apa kat sini. Okay, no problem. You can just put 100 here or 80 plus 20 pun okay. Jadi kat atas ni pun kalau you nak letakkan 60 campur 10 pun okay. Kat sini you nak letakkan 60 campur 20 pun okay. Begitu juga dengan sini you nak letakkan terus 100 pun okay saja. Okay, so at the end of the year, the group retained earning is 187,600 and NCI is 76,600. Okay, and we go further to consolidated statement of profit or loss. So in statement of profit or loss, there is not much adjustment. Not much adjustment. Simply adding the revenue of H, S, and X. Okay, kita campurkan saja tiga-tiga. Kemudian expenses pun sama juga. Okay, kemudian taxation pun sama juga. So sampailah kita kepada profit after tax that is equal to 50,000. Okay. So dia tak habis lagi 50,000. 50,000 will be allocated to the parent and the NCI. Okay. So kita kena agihkan kita punya profit after tax tadi kepada parent dan NCI. But we do not have to calculate the parent. We need to calculate the NCI and the balance belong to parent. Okay. Let us calculate. Okay. Profit after tax attributable to NCI. Okay. There are two companies. The first one is S. So how much is the profit after tax of S? From the question, it is 10,000. Okay. How much is the percentage of NCI? Percentage of NCI is 20%. Therefore, out of 10,000, 2,000 belong to NCI for the year. And for X, okay, the profit for the year is 20,000 and the percentage of NCI is 32%. Okay, so 32% times 20,000 equal to 6,400. 2,000, yeah, share of profit of NCI in S. 6,400 is share of profit of NCI in S. Altogether, it is 8,400. So 8,400 we put here. From 50, 8,400 belongs to NCI and the balance 41,600 belong to the parent. And these two amounts will be used when we prepare the statement of changes in equity later. So later tu tak lama lah, sekarang lah later tu dah sampai dah. To calculate the consolidated statement of changes in equity for the year ended 31st December 20X3. Okay, so the balance brought down just now, we found the figure from the analysis of financial statement brought down, whereby the group retained earning is 146,000 and NCI is 68,200. Okay, and there is no acquisition of subsidiary during the year. If yes, then we need to put the NCI here. Okay, if there is no, then we do not put anything. Okay, and then profit after tax for the year, we have just calculated. This is belong to NCI for the year, 8,400, and belong to the parent or the group, which is 41,600. So at the end of the year, the balance carried down of the group retained earning is 187,600 and NCI is 76,600. And the figure is exactly the same as what we have calculated here in analysis of financial statement carried forward ataupun carried down. And the last thing that we need to see or to prepare is consolidated statement of financial position. Okay, so kita ada sundry asset. We just add together the three companies, H, S, and X. And then just now we have calculated the goodwill for the two companies, S and X. Altogether 29,200. 29,200 jadi tadi 14. Campur dengan 15.2, kita dapatlah sebanyak 29,200. Investment in subsidiary, no more there. And then, in the equity side, we have ordinary shares, 400. And we have retained earning from this calculation, 187,600. And lastly, non-controlling interest, 76,600. Okay, class. Are you following all we have learned today?
Yes.
Yes? If yes, good. Okay. So, kita boleh beralihlah kepada kita punya soalan Kita beralih kepada kita punya soalan pula. Jadi saya akan tutup dulu recording ni supaya kita nanti kurang sikit masalah kita dengan Google Meet. Sekejap lagi kita sambung dengan soalan tutorial.